Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Rupp Report. I'm your host, Tyler Russell, joined by co-host Israel Schill. Israel, Kentucky is on a five-game win streak. They went 2-0 this past week. They took down Texas. They took down Ole Miss. I mean, they got a bunch of momentum. And in this episode, we're going to talk about what's coming this week, tomorrow at Vanderbilt, and then again, they play Arkansas next weekend. But I mean, we're just going to start off right away. They're on a five-game win streak. They took down
hmm
Texas. What did you see in that game?
Yeah, first of all, we're on some, me and you are rolling on a high right now because the Cats are doing well, but also our Patriots. Oh boy, our Patriots. Yeah, I'm not wearing anything, but we're going to going to the Super Bowl. What a good feeling. What a good feeling it is to say that once
Again.
again. Yeah, I know. But anyways, basketball, Kentucky basketball.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the Texas game was great, honestly. I won't lie. It felt like it was one of the first times this season where we've seen Kentucky piece it together for a full game. And though they've had their hiccups here and there in that game, it felt like it was like, okay, we have some first half basketball followed by some second half basketball. This is something that we haven't really seen a lot with Kentucky, obviously. And their first halves have been atrocious, abysmal all year. So seeing them be able to kind of start to play a full game against, not a horrible opponent, not an AP top 25 opponent, but still a decently built squad.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. And we saw three really high scores. Obviously, Ortega, team high 19 points, or my fault. Denzel Aberdeen, team high 19 points. Ortega 18, Colin Chandler 18. And the two with 18, Ortega and Colin, they were the two closest scorers to Denzel. But that just goes to show that it's not just one guy. I mean, we've talked about it. It's one thing to get a win, squeak one out, a game that you should win, and then you have one player that just won you the game. They shared the rock 43% from the field, 28% from deep, and a massive, massive part of this that a lot of people are going to overlook. And I bet that a lot of people, haven't even realized Kentucky went 30 for 35 from the free throw line. So Kentucky is not a struggling free throw team, but they are, no, I don't know the exact rankings, but they are no means up there with like the top of the country. But 30 from 35, I mean, getting 30 points there is huge, especially in a game that you win
Yeah.
by 5 points. And Texas head coach Sean Miller did credit Kentucky, but he did say that this is probably the worst fouling team he's ever coached, that it's so frustrating that it could have been a different game. Again, he did, make sure people knew that he wasn't discrediting Kentucky, but Israel, what do you think about that? I mean, do you really
Yeah.
think that if they didn't shoot as well from the free throw line, it could have been a different story? What do you think?
I mean, we have definitely seen this same team not do very well late in games because of their free throw shooting. I think it was, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe in North Carolina was one of those games where it was as close as it was because a lot of the opportunities that Kentucky had from the free throw line were not taken up on.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, yeah, you can look at it in the sense, I mean, 30 points, that's almost half your points coming from free throws. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So obviously the importance of making those is always going to be there, but I don't necessarily think that that was the exact reason why they won that game. I think it was kind of more of that, like they came out playing well in the first half, didn't let themselves get into a hole, made the adjustments that they needed to make at halftime, and then figured it out through the adversity. Obviously, a few storylines from the game. Colin Chandler, flu game Colin Chandler in there. That is his career high at Kentucky with those 18 points. His original career high was, I believe, 15 at
Yeah.
Nichols, versus Nichols at the beginning of the year. So it's nice to see him picking it back up. But Cam Williams, the huge loss, another guy who is, a starting level guy for the Cats that losing to injury again in this big stretch of the season.
Yeah, man, they can't get past it. I mean, the injuries that this team in the 2 years of the Mark Pope era, I think Stephen K
Yeah,
from KSR put something out the other day. It's like 14, 15. Not just guys that like, go down, get injured, and then come back. Like serious
yeah,
injuries, maybe not season ending, but there are guys that have missed some time. And, Kentucky's I'm not even gonna say floundering because they're not anymore. They were floundering before, but now they're kind of just floating in the middle of winning games, but doing it without some of their best players. Like, it's up for debate. A lot of people don't think Jalen Lowe is as important as he is. I think he is that important, but he's out. Cam Williams broken foot. Cam Williams, first of all, he's not going to like jump out at you on the stat sheet, but this dude's extremely, extremely important,
Yeah,
especially when they need their threes. And JQ again out with that same knee inflammation stuff going on there. So they are really, really trying to get through this. But it has not been easy at all. Aside from when they have everyone, now they don't. But it's kind of like they flip-flopped. Like they don't have
yeah.
everyone, or they have everyone and they're losing. They don't have everyone and they're winning. So it's kind of like pick your poison, I guess.
Definitely. It's been nice to see them scrap together some of these wins in a little less of a consistent fashion. But it's,
Yeah.
it obviously sucks at the same time to see a guy like Cam Williams who had a horrible start to the year, absolutely atrocious. I think he started 1 for 13 from the 3-point line, was barely
Yeah.
getting any minutes, and then
Yep.
out of nowhere took a huge leap. What did he have, a 28-point game or something like that with a
He had
bunch
one
of
that was
threes or something
up
like
there,
that?
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
yeah, it was when we were on break. We were watching it at home and texting each other. I
yeah.
don't remember who that was again. It might have been Bellerman, maybe.
Maybe it was the Bellerman game.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Regardless, we were really starting to see him come out of his shell on offense, but also when J-Lo went down, his importance on the defensive side of the ball really came into play because he's one of those guys who was really, a 3-and-D dude for the Cats. And Mark Pope talked about it a lot and how important Cam Williams was defensively, especially when J-Lo was out. So now looking at it, you see that we're starting to kind of scrape the bottom of the barrel when it comes to the guard play. Jasper Johnson, we talk about a little bit for his Ole Miss game later, but I think that the importance of losing him is going to be noticed when you get later into the season and into March when you're like, we need somebody who can go out there and be a giant killer, and you don't have a guy like Cam Williams to be out there doing that for you.
Yeah, just such an underrated piece to this team. And well, I guess we can move now into the Ole Miss game, but Kentucky did have to figure out how to play without him against Ole Miss and obviously the other injuries that we mentioned. But nonetheless, this past Saturday, it was weird when I was there. They beat Ole Miss 72-63. So I would take my computer and show everyone what it looks like
Yeah,
outside, but I forgot to mention that in the beginning. We are on Zoom today because I
yeah.
believe the library is closed. Campus is closed.
Yeah, campus is
Um,
shut down for at least today, and my teachers have already started to go on Zoom or cancel tomorrow.
Hopefully
So,
tomorrow. Hopefully
yeah,
tomorrow.
we're praying right now.
Yeah, but like half the country, I mean, Kentucky got rocked by snow and ice, and this was all starting on Saturday afternoon. So they moved the game from noon Eastern time to 11.
That was
Uh,
brutal, dude. I was there at 8 a.m. setting up for
yeah, I
that.
got there I think 9:30, but
Ugh,
it's still I was like I woke up, I
yeah,
was like
it's
but
tough,
got to cover some hoops, so it's all right.
of course.
But also on top of that, like Ole Miss didn't even hold a post-game press conference because they had to get out of there. But
Hmm.
Rupp was still packed. So there was still
Oh
everyone
yeah,
there. It's like rain, snow, sleet, hail, whatever. BBN will be there. And in that game, the Cats won 72-63. Ortega game high and a season high, 23 points. Colin Chandler had 12 points, 7 rebounds. Ortega, I do want to touch on because he did have a rough to his standards start of the
yeah.
season with all that leadership and putting up like 9 points, 10, 12, 11. But he's been breaking through these past few games. And aside from that, we said we were going to talk about Colin Chandler. Kentucky's up 63-60. Not much time left in the game. Let's go a deep ball, like pretty far behind the 3-point
Dude,
line. Drains it,
yeah.
calls game.
He like at least 3 feet behind the line, like,
Yeah,
and
way
he
back.
did not have to pull that trigger, but he did,
Nope.
and I mean it was a nice little dagger there. Obviously, this was Travis Perry's homecoming game. We talked about it a little bit, but there's not much to talk about there with him. 10 points, 10 minutes, 0 points, 0 for 3, absolutely chucked up a three in his first shot of the game. I think he
They
airballed
they
it.
drew it up for him. Like they
Yeah,
came
yeah.
out with one or two passes and he let that thing go and it was nowhere. An air
Oh
ball.
boy. Yeah, it was ugly. And so he ended up basically sitting the bench the rest of the game. AJ Storr kind of filling in a lot of those minutes. But uh, you know, that was a fun game for Kentucky again, like kind of scrapping together one of those wins. It was like at the point where I never felt like they were gonna lose, but also I never felt like they were gonna win at any point in the game, really, until they got later in. I think somebody I wanted to talk about a little bit was Jasper. At one point, he went on an 8-0 scoring run by
By
himself.
himself. Yes.
Yeah, so he kind of picked the team up there a little bit. Didn't end up doing a whole bunch with his 17 minutes at 11 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. three turnovers. That's been the problem with him a lot this year has been the turnovers. But
Like the
again, it's
maturity of them. Yeah.
exactly, and it's nice to see him start to learn a little bit more and grow with these minutes. But I mean, it's tough when you 155-pound Jasper Johnson running around on the floor and he's like just getting poked around a little bit and gets caused over for a turnover. But it was a good win for the Cats regardless, I think.
Yeah. And to your point about that 8-0 run by Jasper, I mean, we've seen this Kentucky team. I made a joke to Jenna, Jenna, but forever
Yeah.
the coworker that I work in the Colonel with. But I was sitting next to her, and on the stat broadcast, I turned it to her and said like 3 minutes without a field goal for Kentucky, and they were still winning. And I was like, oh, wouldn't be a Kentucky game if there
Yeah.
wasn't at least a good couple of minutes without a field goal.
No,
Um,
seriously.
but to that point, Jasper went on an 8-0 run by himself, and if he didn't do that, and Kentucky went on their field goal drought, like they could have lost. And
Yeah.
I think that and that deep three by Chandler were like the two biggest points of or parts of the game, aside from obviously Otega putting up 23. But no, Kentucky, man, if Jasper could limit those turnovers and like flourish into more of like a consistent player, I'm not saying you have to go on 8-0 scoring runs by yourself every game, but limit the turnovers, get to the rim. He loves that little mid-range floater on the drive. So
Totally. Yeah.
but behind Aberdeen, just as long as he can contribute more than he will hurt them in terms of turnovers and stuff, I think he'll be okay. And then just going to keep building confidence from there.
Yeah.
Um, but moving past the Ole Miss game, I guess we could talk about probably honestly maybe the biggest week for Kentucky basketball this season.
Yeah.
Um, like we
Definitely
mentioned,
the
they got
biggest
that.
back to back, the
Yeah,
biggest two games in a row.
Yeah, exactly. We mentioned they're on a 5-game winning streak, but they've only, not discrediting them, but they've only played one ranked team in their past 6 games, and it was, number 24 Tennessee, who I believe is now unranked.
Yeah, I believe
But
so too.
nonetheless, got a 5-game win streak. You're building momentum. I've seen stuff on Twitter, people saying they haven't played anyone good. Like this is whatever. It's a win streak, but they got number 15 Vanderbilt tomorrow on Tuesday, and then they will face number 20 Arkansas in Fayetteville. So back-to-back road ranked games. Israel, let's start with Vanderbilt.
Yeah, Vanderbilt, obviously, it feels like it. Vanderbilt as a whole, athletics a department program has flipped completely upside down, seeing what they did with football last year. And I believe their women's basketball team, are they still undefeated?
I don't
Or
think they're undefeated, but I
maybe
think
one loss? I mean,
here, I'll check that for you.
yeah, wherever they are. But I mean, regardless, this men's Vanderbilt team is a force to be reckoned with, honestly. And we
20 and
come
1.
20-1. I mean, that's ridiculous. So what Vanderbilt right now is doing at an athletics level, regardless, is just insane. And so, you would chalk these games up a few years ago as, oh, it doesn't matter if Vanderbilt's coming or up, if we're going to Vanderbilt, if we're playing Vanderbilt, and who knows where Canada. Like you could chalk that up as a win for the Cats, but it is a whole different program now that we're looking at with this Vanderbilt team. And I think that I mean, when you go look at the ESPN predictor, they got Vanderbilt winning this one, and that's obviously not a crazy thing to say.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, Vandy, number 15 right now, 17 and 3 overall, 4 and 3 in SEC play,
Yeah,
but I believe they started 16 and 0 and now they're
yeah,
17 and 3, so they've lost 3 of their last 4 games. But when you really dive deeper into it, they're 9 and 1 at home at Memorial
yeah,
Coliseum. Obviously, it's going to be a quad one opportunity for Kentucky, so this would be massive. And on top of that, Vanderbilt is fourth. This is crazy. Fourth in the SEC in points per game with 90.1. I saw that and I was like, oh, they got to be like maybe first, second, but fourth.
yeah. That's
SEC is not as
crazy.
good as it was last year, but obviously there's still some giants. And
Hmm.
sophomore Tyler Tanner averaging 17.4 points and a team high 5.3 assists. Man, if Kentucky could limit him, I think they'll be okay. I think they might have a good shot. But at Vanderbilt, Kentucky lost at Vanderbilt last year, and Vanderbilt was good last year. They were decent, but Kentucky was way better last year. This just seemed, and
Yeah,
it's at 9 o'clock, and this just seems like one of those, I wouldn't even say trap games, but one of those games where you go and it just doesn't go your way. I have a feeling it's going to
yeah,
be rough environment. It's going to be late. It's going to be frustrating. But before I give my predictions, I want to see what you're thinking.
yeah. I mean, it's tough to look at this game on the schedule and be like, oh yeah, Kentucky's gonna walk out of there with a win, especially since you look at Alabama walks into Memorial, comes out with an L. They beat Alabama 96-90. LSU,
Mhm.
they handled. Florida recently came in there, was able to make it out with a win, but 98-94, that's not
Yeah.
easy. And that's
That
scoring
was
a lot of points.
Vanderbilt's only home loss this season.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, and that is crazy to be scoring 94 points in a loss.
Yeah.
So the one promising thing I look at is the Arkansas game. I don't know what validity there really is to that. That was just I feel like that was a crazy fluke game for them. I don't know what happened. 93 to
Yeah.
68 loss. Also, it was at Arkansas. But I do think that like it has been for the last few games, Kentucky has a chance at coming out of these games like with my cat's yelling at me with strong wins. But the problem is their first half. So it's like when you look at the last few games, the first half has been good, and even then they're struggling with some of these SEC teams. So I think when you're in an away environment, you don't have the fans backing you. You're already down some of your best players. You don't really have any momentum rolling in your direction already. So unless you're creating that on your own, which is going to be extremely difficult, I don't really think Kentucky's got a chance of coming out of this one with a win. So I'm going to go. I mean, we'll go somewhere. I think they'll be able to hold Vandy under that 90-point threshold, but I don't think it'll be by a lot. Maybe like 88 to 81, something around that range.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm pretty much the same thing. I don't think Vanderbilt's going to crack 90, but I don't think Kentucky's going to end up having more than Vanderbilt. I'm going to say Vandy is going to win this one 87 to 82. And, I'd love for nothing more to Kentucky to go in there and actually get a win,
Of
especially because
course.
the way we were just talking about it, I just have a feeling it's going to be a frustrating game, kind of like Alabama, like where things just aren't going
Yeah.
your way. You maybe have a little run or a little this or that where you think that okay, like here we go, and then you just get shot down again. I'm
Yeah.
going to say 87 to 82 Vanderbilt, and why don't we just end it off with Arkansas? I mean, Saturday again, back-to-back ranked games. They go down and they face John Calipari, former head coach. Clearly. Um, Arkansas is 5-2 or 15-5, 5-2 in SEC play. They're on a two-game winning streak, 3-2 in their last five games, and this guy Darius Acuff is going to be he's going to be a problem.
Yeah, I would say so, and especially when you ask the question, who's going to guard him? Because
Yeah,
I can't really think of anybody in these Kentucky's extended guards of what they're whipping up, pulling together from the bench, who's really seriously going to be able to stop him. And the only guy who I think, well, the only two guys who I think would have been able to at the guard position, obviously, we don't have anymore for the rest of the season. So
yeah,
it's going to take a lot from these other guys who are going to have to step up. But I mean, I assume it's going to be DA, Aberdeen as the main matchup there. I think we could either see some great back and forth offensive possessions, or it could be kind of like a lockdown game. You never really know with Cal. You never know what he's going to throw at us. Obviously, this is a big game for him, and as much as they'll say, "Oh, it's not," it's been a while. This is a new
it is.
rivalry that has been
Yeah.
created artificially by his decision to go move in conference. And now here we are with back-to-back ranked games going down to play him in Arkansas. I will say, last time Kentucky faced off in back-to-back ranked games was not good. It was North Carolina and Gonzaga, who North Carolina lost barely to at home and then got absolutely destroyed by Gonzaga in Nashville. Um,
You put it
so
nicely for him. Absolutely
yeah,
destroyed is a nice way to put
absolutely destroyed. Yeah, I mean it's the most PG way I could think about putting it. You know what I mean?
it.
So
Yeah.
I mean I think it obviously all depends how they handle this Vandy game, but back-to-back ranked away games is terrifying if I'm Mark Pope and this team.
Yeah, I mean, they have all the momentum right now. They are flying at 100 foot on the gas, but I have a feeling there's a roadblock coming.
Oh yeah.
I don't see, I mean, I think Kentucky's going to lose this one too, if I'm being honest. I
Yeah.
think it's going to be 88-79. That's what I put down. Um, but if they could get at least one win, that would speak so much volume. I'm not going to say you can't go 0-2 because I think a lot of people would expect them to go 0-2.
Yeah.
So it's not like a crazy, like unbelievable, like how do you go 0-2? I think 1-1 would be fair. Um, But if they could go 2-0, I mean, holy crap, then we'd be having such a different conversation. I think all of our episodes
Wow.
would be extremely different going forwards.
I would be very
Um,
excited for this next episode if we come out of this 2-0. I will
oh, I'm
say
going
that for sure.
straight to ESPN bracketology, seeing where
Oh
the
yeah,
Blues
man.
stay.
Oh
Make a whole
yeah.
episode about how they went from being NIT Warriors in the in the beginning of the year
Hmm.
to whatever they'd get.
They'd probably
But
end
I'm
up at
saying,
a top 17 team in the country after
yeah,
that,
dude,
probably.
they might go deeper than that.
Yeah, it could be more.
I think the rankings are probably coming out as we're doing this.
Yeah, probably literally in the next
So
hour.
if they get ranked, actually, I'm gonna check that real quick while we're doing this. But if they get ranked today, then they could probably get into top 15 if they win
Yeah.
both of these.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would definitely be a crazy step in the right direction if they were able to pull that off. I don't think they will, but I think it would be really awesome if they were able to do something like that. ESPN has this game a little bit more of a toss up when you look at their matchup predictors, I think probably because of the history, but I think Arkansas will probably come out of there with like a 86-75 type win, you know what I mean? Like maybe Kentucky tries to take control at some point, but just isn't able to pull it out.
Yeah, no, I could see that too. I mean, it's nothing really like crazy about Arkansas that is like terrifying me, except for the fact that it's a road game.
Yeah.
Um, and just the way that they played last year at Rupp. I mean, obviously
Yeah.
it's so completely different, and this it's
Of
like a whole new
course.
team again. But it leaves a little bit of a bad taste in your mouth, and just Darius Acuff, and I really do think Jalen Lowe, if he was able to play this
Yeah.
game, he would have had the best chance at locking him up. But there's that. That is what it is. And I just looked. Kentucky's not ranked this week. They received 51 votes, and Tennessee was the other one that received more than them with 88. But
So are they sitting at about 27 then?
about yeah.
Okay.
And St. John slid back in to 25. Bama moves to 23, and there's a lot of stuff going on there. So,
Okay.
oh, wait,
Interesting.
before we end it, actually, I guess we could look at the new rankings for Vanderbilt and Arkansas. Vanderbilt is now number 18 and Arkansas is now number 15.
Okay.
So they're
So I
going
guess
to
that
number 18 Vanderbilt and number 15 Arkansas.
yeah, that's tough. You get a little bit of a drop there in Vanderbilt, but Arkansas jumps up five. So I mean, man, there's you know what I mean? It's another one of those situations where it's like, I mean, they might do it, but
But I wouldn't get hopes up.
yeah, I wouldn't get too excited, if we're only down by five at halftime and you're thinking, oh, we could do this because one of them end up losing by 15.
It's just the way the cookie
It's
crumbles. It's
just
the
the
way
way
it
the cookie
crumbled up to this
crumbles.
point.
Yeah.
But Israel, I think we're done here. I'm gonna go enjoy the rest of my snow day.
Yeah, me as well.
Hopefully I won't see you on campus tomorrow. No
No, I
disrespect.
know.
Hopefully no
Yeah.
classes or anything.
Yeah. Yeah, nothing
Um,
against you, I guess, man.
yeah, my fault. But yeah, next time we come at you guys, Cats will either be 0-2 in this road stretch, 1-1, 2-0. We'll see how it unfolds and prepare for a bracketology episode if they do go 2-0, because I think that's what we're gonna probably do. One
Absolutely.
last time, we appreciate you guys checking out the Rupp Report. I'm Tyler Russell. That's Israel Chill, and we will check back in with you